Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are doing amazing today. I just wanted to hop on here and do a video to get an energetic feel of something. But before I jump into that, I do want to kind of explain myself about like what I'm really doing and how I've come to know how to do this. So, as some of you may know and have noticed that I like to work with like tarot cards and energetically connect to people using tarot cards, and you know the goal with that is just to help people. So, and I feel like it's what it's like my purpose to help people if I can. And so, that's why I started doing tarot. I enjoy it. It's something I feel passionate about. But not really, but I'm not really using tarot today. I'm just gonna try to, I guess you can call it a cold reading, is where you just kind of tune into something energetically and just see what comes up, see what kind of information comes up from connecting to that and focusing on whatever energy. And so I do want to say that from doing tarot, I think I'm gonna rant a little bit before I kind of get into the topic of the video, just to kind of explain how I came to do this. But so, doing tarot, I had to kind of realize that what I'm doing is energetically connecting to whoever I'm doing a reading for. And in order to do that, in order to be able to, get information from a stranger that I've never like talked to beforehand, I've realized that it's because I'm connected to that person in some way. I'm not going to get into that super in detail. I feel connected to everything, absolutely everything, and that's how I'm able to connect to somebody's energy without, having talked to them or, having even knowing them, is that ultimately I'm just connected to them and everything. So with that, I can energetically, go in, get an energetic feel of pretty much anything because I am connected to that, and which is how I'm able to do it. But so initially, doing tarot readings, I had to kind of when I first started doing tarot, it got kind of hard for me to be confident in doing the readings, and I had to realize that, and I would get kind of stressed, and I would like take the card meanings too literally or focus too much on the meaning of the card rather than using my intuition. And so like in learning how to do tarot, one of like my big lessons was to realize that I was the one who had like the power, and that the cards were kind of guiding me and organizing my thoughts, rather than the cards had the power and I was guiding the power of the cards. So there was a part in my journey in learning tarot where I had to realize that it wasn't that the power was in the cards and that I was assisting the cards. It's the power was me, and the cards were assisting me in connecting with whatever energy that was connecting to. And so when I finally crossed that bridge, it made doing tarot readings a lot easier. I felt more comfortable doing them and more confident, and I had more trust in myself. And then it's getting a little toasty here in the sun, and I'm wearing this big old jacket. Anyway, but yeah, so that was fun to have this kind of new experience doing tarot, just kind of grounding into it a little bit more. And so that was good. That was fun. Good feeling. But then I started to feel a little bit kind of like stuck again in tarot reading. I felt like I there was maybe somewhere else I could go with it, I suppose, but you know, I'm saying that now, but in you know, thinking back, I just felt stuck, period. And kind of like was like, should I be doing this? Am I wasting time doing this? But you know, ultimately I just love doing it, and I was just like self-doubt kind of feelings. But anyway, I kind of I started to like, you know, started doubting myself again, I guess, and was kind of like, okay, so like, is this and it's kind of crazy because I stepped over this bridge of understanding that the cards weren't the power, that it was me, and that the cards were guiding me. And so I like stepped over this bridge, and it was like good, and everything was like, it was like a new experience of doing tarot, and it was great. But then it kind of, I guess it kind of hit some kind of dead end where I started to like think, you know, is this in my imagination, or like, how do I know that, I started to want to know, you know, you know, and I wanted to know and understand what the difference was between the inspirations that I was getting from like my intuition versus like my own, you know, imagination. And so I had to really kind of practice that and give myself a good understanding of, you know, what the difference was between, you know, these inspirations that are coming from my own intuition and being connected versus like my own imagination and making things up. And so I did do that. I focused on that, and it did help this feeling of this stagnant feeling. My conclusion of this was that when the inspirations come, they're just there laid out completely already, and what I have to do is like translate it so that it makes sense to whatever I'm talking about, or I'm trying to connect to, or whatever I'm focusing on that I want information about. And so like, you know, I realized that information is just there. It's already like it's already a made up thought. I just have to like express it and connect it to whatever situation, versus like my own imagination and me making things up. It takes a lot longer to do. It takes a lot longer because I have to think about it. So I now, you know, when I do readings, I have to completely empty my mind and just not think. So it leaves room, it leaves an open space and a clear space for whatever needs to or wants to come through. So yeah, I had to cross that bridge also so that I could clear that stagnant energy. And so after doing that, and sometime after, you know, kind of crossing that bridge, I had like this experience that I feel like happened super naturally. I remember sitting in my chair in my living room and just feeling like super relaxed, and yeah, I was just feeling super relaxed. So I thought, well, I might as well like meditate, you know, because sometimes meditating, it takes a bit of an effort to make time out of the day to just sit and do nothing and think of nothing. So at this point, I just felt like very relaxed, and I wasn't watching TV, I wasn't on my phone, I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't thinking of anything in particular. I just felt very relaxed and was sitting there and like closed my eyes, and I was like, well, this now is the perfect time to meditate. I don't have to, there was no real like effort into be like, I guess I'm just gonna sit here, do nothing, when I really kind of want to like scroll on my phone or whatever, or watch a show on TV or whatever. So I was like, perfect time to meditate. It's easy, effortless. And so like as I was like going into meditation, almost immediately I felt like the energy of Earth, of the planet, just like connecting to it, and it felt very natural. I wasn't just like, I think I'm gonna talk to Earth today. It just felt like this connection where the planet was almost waiting for me to be ready to talk to it. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm past really caring about sounding crazy, because there's just I wasn't just brought to this situation that I'm in like that. There's a bunch of things that I've gone through that I felt like I needed to go through to be able to do, experience what I experienced at that point. And so yeah, I just feel like I started to connect with the energy of Earth, and I just knew it was Earth that I was connecting to, and just like the feeling of, I just felt like I was being held, and it was just such a loving energy, and it was just, I think I've talked about this in a previous video. If I haven't, it was probably on my Instagram, but anyway, yeah, there's just this amazing feeling that I felt like protected and like loved during this, meditative experience. And then I just remember immediately seeing like myself up on this stage, and there was this like audience, and they just all started like applauding and like clapping, and I just remember it feeling really good, like just being up there and people just like applauding me, and it was just like, okay, like it just felt great. It was great. And then I realized, like, during this meditative experience connecting to Earth, that I was representing, everybody on Earth. And when this happened, it was at a time where COVID was really like wreaking havoc on the collective, and that there was just so much like people being uprooted from their safety, I suppose. And it was just a lot of uncertainty, and just like, people, feeling scared and confused, and, all that fun stuff. And I just remember thinking like, okay, the message here is that Earth is saying that we're all doing good, that we're doing great. And so it was just a really good feeling to, kind of experience that for myself also, because that's something that I felt like I needed to hear, is that like, you're doing fine, you're doing great, actually, I'm applauding you. And so it was just a great feeling, a great message. There was more in that message, but that's just the first, that's the first thing that I remember seeing when I was connecting. And I've also connected with Earth after that. But in a personal kind of experience. Yeah, so after doing that, it was just a really kind of, I took a turn in this journey of like, the work of doing tarot is just kind of like connecting to a higher perspective of yourself, a more objective perspective of yourself. And so, it was just really cool to have experienced that. And so kind of recently I've wanted to explore a little bit more in a way that I wanted to connect with other things. And I I tried, so I did that. I did like the same kind of what am I trying to say? I did the same kind of system, I suppose you can say, of how I connect to Earth. I did that with the sun, because I mean, if I could connect to a planet like that, why can I connect to like our solar system sun and see like what wisdom, what energy feeling is there? And I did, and it was pretty cool. It was great. It was almost like the opposite of Earth, but still like a very good like feeling. It was almost like, okay, so it's almost like Earth is like a dad, or Earth is like a mom grandmother type of feel, and connecting to the sun is more of like a dad grandfather type of feel. And I also felt inspired to connect to the sun because of all of the fires that we've been having at home. It's been like super cold, and so we've been having a lot of fires, and it's just been very therapeutic and just like calming to like stare at a fire. And I just felt like there was a lot of wisdom coming from it, a lot of fatherly, like grandfather type of wisdom to it, and it kind of inspired me to want to tap into sun energy. And sure enough, it's that kind of energy. It's like dad grandfather energy. So you feel very secure and safe, and like good, you know, in this kind of and connecting to that kind of energy. And there was some kind of like, there was like a sternness in the messages when I connected to the sun, which is also a very like dad grandfather type feel, just like a sternness, like a tough love, but it, not tough. Like it didn't feel tough. It felt like very caring. Anyway, that was also like a personal kind of thing that I wanted to do and explore, experiment with. So that was cool. And so in doing that, which has brought me to the point of this video, I wanted to kind of go into this, I wanted to get an energetic feel of a topic that I was curious about, because as I was like, so like I said, we've been having a lot of fires. It's winter, it's been super cold, so we've been having a lot of fires. And so what I like to do after a long day of being a stay-at-home mom, I've been really enjoying sitting in front of the fire and doing like crossword puzzles, or not like word search. Well, different kinds of, I've got this like book of variety puzzles that have like crossword puzzles, word searches, Sudoku, just all those kinds of like pen and paper puzzles that you can, you know, just write in. And so I've been enjoying sitting in front of the fire and doing those puzzles. And sometimes my love will make me some tea, and so in very lighthearted way, my partner would kind of like make fun of me and call me like old because I'm sitting in front of a fire drinking tea and doing like my word searches or whatever. And I was kind of like, well, old must be great if this is old, because that has been so relaxing for me these past few days and weeks that we've had a fire, and I've been just like, you know, chilling and doing my puzzles. And so like as soon as, you know, he referred to me as old, I was just like, old, you know, I just felt like I was doing this like word association where I was just like old, wise, experienced, restful. Like, old is good. And so when I was thinking of this, it kind of triggered a thought that I've had about this, that like the collective youth has felt old. Like I see a lot of like memes and like people talking about, and of course in a funny way, how like these like young people, I'm talking like people who are turning 30 or are in their late 20s, talking about feeling super old and like exhausted and tired, and like their body hurts in a way that an old person's might, you know. And so I was like, okay, you know what, I think I want to kind of get an energetic feel of why that's happening, of why so many like young people are feeling old. And it's old in kind of like old in a maybe not such a positive way, in a way that I had associated old with when I was just like, you know, in front of the fire feeling good and relaxed and calm, and it was just great. And so I just felt like old is good. And so to see like all these like young people associate themselves as being old in a like a, you know, negative way. And I guess it's not necessarily in a negative way, but it just, they shouldn't be feeling like that old right now. And I just kind of wanted to connect to that energy of like this collective youth that is feeling old and like tired and exhausted, and like their bones are not the way they should be at this age. And I kind of went into that feel a little bit already, but I wanted to kind of continue it on camera, I suppose. This is already 22 minutes long. 22 minutes long, my goodness. I guess I'll leave a timestamp of when the actual like topic of the video starts. So like, here we go. I'm going in. We're going in. God, it's getting hot. Can you see how red my face is? Oh God, that's right in the sun. Okay, yeah, I suppose I'll take my friggin' Eskimo sweater off. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so okay, let's go in here. We're going into the energy of this collective youth that feels tired and old, and we'll see what. Okay, I guess I should also say, if I haven't already, God, I don't know if I said already. This video is so long. I don't know what I've even said so far. My goodness. So, you know, the purpose of doing this is to just give insight into anybody who is feeling this way. If you're someone who's feeling super old and tired and exhausted, and you're like bones and your joints and your body just feels like it's not up to par as it should be at your age, you know, this is supposed to be insight into that situation and why it's happening and how to fix it. So let's go into it. Okay, so initially when I first started doing this off camera, I immediately saw someone on their phone, I guess at night, just scrolling. And so there's one reason right there, is that instead of being on your phone and scrolling, you could be sleeping, and that sleep right there is something that could aid in your energy, the energy that you need, right? So there's one thing right there. And busyness was another thing. I felt busyness, unnecessary busyness was another thing. I feel like I need to breathe like that sometimes to really clear the space in my head so that I'm able to have a clean space in my mind for this stuff to come in and be clear. So anytime I use visualization with my breathing, so that every time I take a breath in, I'm like bringing these like mops and cleaning stuff and cleaning out, you know, my mind with every inhale, and with every exhale, I'm throwing out like the mop water or the dirtiness of, you know, what has been cleaned. So that's what I'm doing when I'm taking deep breaths and not doing anything. Yeah, there's just a lot of distractions, I guess. There's a lot of distractions. Of course, technology is a distraction. Okay, that's getting a little bit deeper. So, okay, so I'm immediately feeling, yeah, it's like going to the phone and looking at what other people are doing. We're on Instagram, we're scrolling, we're seeing this person in this huge house, and they're in this huge house because of their occupation. And their occupation is being a real estate agent, or they're into real estate, and they make a lot of money off of that, which is why they're able to live in this huge house. And so you're looking at what this person has, and you want what that person has. So you are, you know, kind of mimicking this person's journey. So you get into real estate so you can have the life that this person has. But that's not following your heart. That's not following your own passions. Because your own passions can get you, you know, abundance, financial abundance. But you're not connected with that because you're too busy on your phone, looking at what other people are doing. So, how does this integrate into being tired and feeling old at a young age? You're wasting your time following somebody else's passion to receive abundance or financial abundance. So you might be going on this journey to be financially free by going into real estate, but it seems to be harder than you thought, or more exhausting. It's exhausting. And a lot of times you just don't want to do the work. But it's not your work. And so you're just not following your path. You're not following the path from in your heart. You're following somebody else's. And so you're kind of like beginning this journey that didn't begin with your heart. Because, you know, if we think of passion, I think of fire. And this is probably also, I was sitting by the fire when I was like thinking about this. So it feels like it's all connected. So, you know, passion is associated with fire. And so when we follow our passions, we are constantly being fueled by that fire that is our passion. And so whenever we get tired doing our passion, it's not as exhausting because we will always have that flame that's pushing us. So when you're on your phone scrolling and you want what someone else has, and you begin a journey that didn't come from your flame, there's nothing fueling you that's keeping you going to the point where you're not, you know, completely exhausted. So there's one. So making sure we're following our own passions that come from our hearts. And it's okay to have similar passions to other people, but you have to be aware of, like, you know, why you're doing something, where the passion came from. Not to think too much about where the passion came from, but so you know that it's yours. You know, you got to think about where the passion's coming from, just so you know that it's yours. Because we can, you know, it's easier to tell that something isn't your passion, especially if you've like got the idea from scrolling through Instagram. But it also might be a little bit more difficult to determine whether something's your passion if you've been told all your life growing up that, you know, by your parents or by someone that you look up to as a child, that this is something that would be something that you should do, that would make, you know, your parents happy or proud or whatever. So it's something that you really have to think about, you know, the things that you're doing, the things that you're going for. You have to make sure that it's, you know, it's connected to your flame, to your own innate flame. Because if it's not, if you're doing stuff that isn't connected to that, then you will definitely get exhausted. And when you continuously go to, you know, when you continue on this path that it wasn't kind of meant for you, it will definitely exhaust you, and it will take a toll on your physical body as well. So that's a big reason I feel like that is causing this kind of the youth to feel so old, tired, exhausted. Their bodies start taking a toll as well. Okay, maybe we can get another example. Yeah, there's just a lot of distractions. Like I just keep seeing the phone and scrolling. And man, I can relate to this. I really sometimes, especially at night, I have to be like, get off of your phone and go to sleep. And I don't, yeah, so it, you know, it could be an addiction, really. And I feel like if I do, you know, take in too much information from, you know, the media and my phone and just scrolling, it exhausts me. And there's not enough mental room for me to be able to take on, you know, the day. I guess. Okay, let me just clear my mind again to see what's coming up, to see what comes up. Let's clean it up. Okay, so I'm feeling like there's this need for things to just get going. Like we just want something to get going. And so, you know, we're looking on our phone of like things, like what's the best way to get money fast? What's the best way to find a partner fast? What's the best way to you know, to get all these things. And so, like, we're following things that aren't coming from here. I feel like that's all, though. I mean, maybe that's all for now, because it feels like there's a lot more information that I could talk about on this subject. But I feel like that maybe I should save it for another time, I guess. Maybe that's a message in and of itself. Okay, yeah, it is. It is. That's crazy. I love that. Okay, so that is also a message that this collective wants all the information at once. Like, give me all the information right now. I need to know everything. Give me all the information about this thing that I need to do so that I can get this, so that I can achieve this, so that I can achieve that. Give me all the information right now. More information. But it's too much. It's too much information. We need to... That's another thing. We're filling our minds with too much information when we can take in only a little bit of information at a time, and then use another amount of our time connecting with ourselves so that we can clear our mind to allow what is meant for us to come in, so that we can hear it and then we can act on that. But right now there's just too much information. There's just too much. So I think that's another thing. I guess there's too much. We're cluttering the mind. We're cluttering the mind so that there's no room for us to know what's meant for us, because it's filled with all these other things that we think we should be doing. So we don't know the difference between what was meant for us to do and what we think that we should be doing. Okay, so I feel like that was like the end of that. I guess, okay, now I want to know like what we can do to start going, you know, to start from the flame, to begin from our flame, from our passions, from what's meant for us. A little bit of advice, please. What advice? How can we start? I don't want to be exhausted anymore. I don't want to be exhausted anymore. I want to begin a journey starting with me, in my flame, in my fuel, that will keep me going even when I'm getting tired. It will always keep me going. I will never give up, because this is what I'm meant to do. Okay, I guess we can tell ourselves that. First and foremost, just speak it out into the universe. This is what I want. I don't want to be tired anymore. I'm sick and tired of being tired and exhausted and putting out so much energy to receive not much back, or nothing at all. I guess that's a good start right there. Is there anything else a little bit more hands-on? physical that we can kind of begin to do. Think. That's all I got. Think about it. Okay, I guess that's it. I mean, I hate to say it like that. I mean, I hope that was good. I hope that was helpful to you guys, because it feels, I just feel like there was enough in there for you to start. Because again, like with the information of like, I feeling like there was so much more information around this topic, but for now that's good. And that was like a good message of like, you don't need to know everything all at once at one time in order to be able to start a project or to start a journey or whatever, because that will clutter the mind. So yeah, okay. I mean, I'll come back. If I feel called to, I'll come back to this. But that's all of that I have for now. I hope it was helpful to some of you guys who needed that information. It's been 42 minutes. It's kind of long. I'm just kind of talking now. But yeah, I really hope that was helpful to you guys who needed or who were experiencing that kind of situation where you feel where you're young but you're feeling exhausted, and and it's taking a toll on you mentally, which will is also taking a toll on you physically. So if hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna end it here and say goodbye, and I love you all, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.